Okay, it's 7:20. We'll call the East Haddam Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to order. We have a attendance.
Curry Brownell, absent. James Curtin, absent. Kevin Matthews,
Present.
Harvey Thomas, absent. Bernard Gillis. Here. Louis Salico, absent. Ed Gubbins, absent. Richard Pettinelli.
Here.
And Jose, here.
Good. All right, so minutes.
You want to appoint,
Joe's gonna.
Oh, yeah, excuse me, Joe. Joe, you want to go for Jimmy Curtin?
Sure.
And Rich has got Crary. Minutes, April 23rd. Anybody have any comments?
That looks good to me.
I have one comment. Jimmy Curtin on third page, just above where the motion was made, it says, Mr. Gillis, question who is responsible for 3 bridges? That was Jimmy Curtin had that question.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah, he called me to tell me that.
Yeah.
He thought you would catch it.
Oh, really? I thought it was, okay.
And that's all that I had on this. So we'll accept the minutes as is. Is that, okay. All right, we in favor of that? And all right, a second.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Joe and Rich.
Aye.
Okay. Bills? I'm not privy to any bills.
You're not going to do April 30th?
Oh, excuse me, yeah, we could do that. This was our special meeting, April 30th. Anybody have any comments? I didn't have any comments on this myself.
No. Pretty straightforward.
Once again, we'll accept the minutes for the April 30th special meeting.
So moved. Second.
All right, thank you.
Do we usually vote to accept them?
You can do it either way.
What's that?
The chairman can
I didn't think we
have
actually voted.
everybody vote for it, or the chairman could just
Accept it?
instruct the secretary to file them as amended, or whatever. Either way works in Robert's rules.
Right. Bills, I'm not privy to any bills.
No bills.
Okay. So we have an acknowledgement here. You have something, Jimmy, for us?
We do. We'll get out. How long you been hacking that way?
No, it started up again today.
It's been too long.
No, it has been nasty, but
Okay.
it got better.
I'm just giving you the Chatham Health District application and the mapping for this. This is a request to have a mobile food unit at the Balix Garden Center. Balix is signing the application.
This is permanent there?
Yeah, you could say it.
They're
That's
like,
the-
not just for special events.
Not for special events, this will be, it could be Monday through Sunday. And the menu which is attached is ordered breakfast and, sandwiches.
Portable storage container
Yeah.
that is placed on a flatbed truck. So their kitchen is in a storage unit.
It's in a storage container, and actually they have one already in Deep River.
Oh, they're not moving it up there? That's,
No, I think this is a different unit.
got 2, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
They converted one down in Deep River, and
Yeah,
it's at the boat launch.
yeah, I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I haven't seen it.
And Chatham Health District reviews it and approves it. So this one, they'd like to get it open yesterday, but I said, well, that's not gonna happen because it does require a special exception. But Nancy has got it set up that it could be on the May 28th agenda.
And if they want to change this, another application comes in with, and
Oh,
that
no.
it gets reviewed and all.
No, if right now, under our regulations, and I said to the guy, I said, you're doing all the legwork, because once we approve the location of it and the use of it,
That's all right.
It's permanent.
then it's there. And then if next year the Balix decide not to do it with you,
They just get a different
they
vendor.
get a different vendor and it continues. Unless
That's
something
what I
goes
thought.
wrong, that we say, hey, you're in violation of the regulation that we wrote up, but,
Yep, and then it runs with the land probably.
yeah, right.
Yep.
Right. So he goes, well, that's not fair.
46.
It's the way it goes.
Are they gonna come forward with hours and days of operation?
I told him to give me a narrative, for it, but I use this right now for time being.
Yeah. And James Riley is an old friend of mine, but if anybody feels like I'm in conflict, but I think I can be objective.
How's his food?
I'm gonna be objective, yeah.
All right, so, when do we want to put this,
May 28th if we can.
set our next?
Yeah.
Okay,
So just one more, so our hours of operation in our regs show 7 AM to 8 PM, but he's gonna give us a more defined.
I told him he could use that if he wanted to, but if he wanted to do more defined, that's up to him. Cause he really doesn't have a dinner menu here, he has more of a breakfast, lunch menu.
Yeah.
He said, so he was gonna debate that. I said, have it ready for the public hearing.
Yeah, okay. Good. Motion to set, public hearing for application 19-7, James Riley, Ballack Associates, special, for portable food service unit for May 28th.
Yeah.
Second.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
All righty. DEO report.
I mailed to you, hopefully accessory uses,
All right. Yep.
last package. Attorney Willis did take a look at this, and he actually did have a comment. If you look in the middle of the, first page, I bracketed out, it's under one accessory dwelling unit with, but the last sentence, for the purpose of this paragraph, no accessory building may be used for an accessory dwelling unless it is the only one of its type on the property, i.e. only garage, only barn, etc. He goes, so now if someone has two barns, what the hell did you put that in there for? And I said, I really don't know. He goes, get rid of it.
Yeah.
So that was his.
So I could have an accessory building plus a barn on my.
Well, let's say right now you have two barns and you wanna convert the upstairs of a barn into an
Yeah.
accessory dwelling.
Yeah.
He says, that just isn't making sense.
Yeah.
He goes, does it violate coverage, then you got a problem.
But we can only have one accessory unit.
One accessory, that's right, no David Koresh complexes.
Okay. Okay, so, I got a couple of questions. Are we
Yep.
gonna discuss this for a bit?
Ken,
You got,
you got a half hour.
we got 35 minutes.
Should we define customary accessory building, or is that, or put a i.e. Barn, garage, freestanding garage after that?
Let's,
Good question. Customary.
right now,
Strike it. Strike it out.
Hmm?
Strike it out.
No, because if there is an existing barn on the building and they wanna convert it, that's what that means, right? You see where I am?
yeah, I'm just seeing if
10,
we have
2,
it
3, 2.
somewhere that we have it defined.
I didn't find it
I don't
anywhere.
think it is.
Under, you said the word is a customary.
Customary accessory building.
So accessory buildings or structures, accessory buildings and structures such as garages, sheds, gazebos, and barns. Accessory structures shall include swimming pools, detached solar panels, windmills, and similar structures. Accessory building structures shall be subject to the general requirements, blah, blah. So that's what we down as accessory buildings or structures.
I guess the customary is what's throwing me off here. If it just said accessory buildings, then that would be pretty clear, but, okay.
Yeah, I don't.
I've used customary.
Okay, the other.
Yep.
You wanna move on?
I can.
In a,
Yeah.
open space subdivision, I don't think I would wanna see, an accessory building, a detached accessory building. I'm thinking the Gomez Oak Lane or Acorn, I'm sorry.
Acorn Drive.
Or, just, we've already lowered the zone from 2 to 1, and now you're putting an accessory building on it?
I don't think you could fit it on there.
If you got a 1 acre house or 1 acre lot, you could fit a detached 1-car garage.
I mean, you're supposed to
Maybe in a
keep a
2-car.
certain percentage woods. So,
But that's specific to that subdivision.
yes.
So if you come in another
Well,
open,
that's not the only one, though.
right,
There's several open space subdivisions
I understand
where
that.
the lot has been cut in half.
Yeah, I understand that.
And,
But, if you're meeting the coverage requirements, why can't you put a detached garage?
Because it's an R2 zone.
I lived there and I wouldn't want that.
They've already taken a bite out of the apple.
But
The developer's taking a bite out of the
Yeah.
apple.
if you look at his,
They
there's
get the
there's not
benefit
enough room,
Basically,
really.
all have accessory dwellings already attached.
You have a
Okay.
garage.
Everybody
You have
does,
an attached garage in most cases.
Yeah.
with bonus rooms and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, that bonus room above there could
A
easily,
studio or something.
could be a studio apartment, couldn't it?
That's all you need, yeah.
Yeah, it's attached. I'm saying a detached unit on that same lot.
I think a detached unit on that main lot might knock itself out through side yard
Yeah.
and septic.
In all of the cases?
Not in every case, but if they're built long and narrow, because typically all of those in the 2 acre zone went down to about 3/4 of an acre. Right?
Yeah. That's allowable, yeah, some of them.
So
I
all of
mean,
a sudden that frontage got pretty narrow. And that's why it's special exception, it comes to see if, you do have the right, if it just looks like ungodly hell, you do have the right to say it doesn't fit with the character of the neighborhood architecturally. Or parking, or density. So, if it's, like, I'll give you an example. If
Why
it's-
not make the exception that in conservation subdivisions, it's not allowed?
Because out in Dobia Hill, which is an R4 conservation subdivision,
room.
you won't even notice the difference.
Right.
Because those are a minimum of 1.5 acres, and they're situated in such a way that 6 or 7 of them houses, you don't even know they're associated as part of a subdivision.
I mean, part of the
I'm not familiar with Dobia Hill.
The purpose of these
4
types
acre
of
zone.
subdivisions is to maintain more green space. I personally, so I've got a acre lot and I've got 100 by whatever it would be, right? 100 by 400, right? I can
Actually-
easily fit a huh?
It's 150 minimum lot width.
Okay, so I got 150 by, then that's, what, 300 feet deep? So I've got a 150 foot lot. Now, my house is a 4-bedroom and it's 65 feet, 40 plus or 66 feet, 40 plus a 26-foot double car garage,
Yeah.
right? So I got 66 feet and 150. I can easily wrap a driveway around the side and put another garage in 350 feet in back because I want to fix my 1956 Chevy. And you're telling me I can't do it because the developer maintained more green space. You wouldn't even see it from the road.
I'm not saying you can't.
And then
Wait, we're talking about accessory units.
Right, but
People
it's not-
live there, 2 bedrooms.
on an acre.
Yeah. Where,
I don't know.
with the
came from-
underlying zone
I came
being
from a
a
much more
2
dense
acre
area.
zone.
The underlying is 2 acre, but I still have that 2 acre zone. I've just taken the houses and condensed them into half of that and left the other half as woods for everybody to enjoy.
And we do have that issue, we were trying to, accessory apartments was for,
in-laws
in-laws
and
and
stuff.
Yeah,
something
no,
like
I-
that, so we were trying to be
If
generous.
Joe wanted to build an accessory apartment over his garage,
Right.
I would have no problem with that. I'm talking about a freestanding, detached,
But
accessory unit.
if Joe came in and put a 2-car garage in back because he wants to work on
Let's
his
say he built a
56
little
Chevy,
barn back there.
he has to put his unit in his bonus room where his kids want to play, and his mother-in-law is going to live there as opposed to in back. What's the difference? You still have the same number of bedrooms inside.
If it works with the setbacks and everything of the
Right,
of the
right. It
original
has to be
subdivision.
zoning compliant, but I think it
But
could
you'd
be.
want to rule that out. in open space.
I don't like, you know, as I said, you know, we gave this guy a bite at the apple, and now we're giving him another bite.
We gave the developer a bite at the apple.
Right.
The homeowner's entirely separate.
It's the underlying zone. It's, you know.
I hear you.
But the idea of an open space subdivision was exactly kind of what we're looking at. One is, you know, to build closer together, develop communities.
Again, I don't have a problem with an accessory unit if it's attached, but when you detach it, I just, and
If you detach it, it's still the same density of people. It's, I mean, there's no real, and the other thing too is we run into a difference is that when you create a regulation and you exclude somebody from it, you know, what's the reason why? Because, you know, we
you don't think that change in the zone, reducing the lot coverage from the size of the lot from 2 to 1 is a significant enough piece of move that would would
Well, I
invite
mean,
itself?
they're their own little, you turn onto the road and all the houses are in the same, you know, situation.
Well, Joe, you live there. What would you think of your neighbor building a barn out in back and having an apartment, 2-bedroom apartment that he rents out?
Not much I could say about it if it got approved.
He'd have to exclude himself. Recuse himself.
I mean,
Can't say much.
so you take that 100-foot frontage, which is the exact same as
wouldn't
the
like
1
it,
acre
no.
zone.
For sure.
The only difference, 150-foot rather, excuse me.
Yeah,
150, which is the same. So we did that to keep the house space. Instead of going back 400 feet,
Go back 300.
it's going back 300 feet. So everybody in a 1 acre zone could do this. And most cases, accessory structures are typically built fairly close to the existing one because they don't want to walk back and forth. And so it doesn't really change the pattern of other 1 acre neighborhoods.
Thankfully, there's all kinds of
Not
places
gonna win
already.
this one, am I?
Well, it's the problem is we have on one thing, we do talk about it, and that's why we wrote the regulation to provide opportunities, because we're never gonna meet this standard of affordable housing where every house that's built is deed restricted. I mean, that's just a pile of paperwork that small communities aren't adapt to. And the reality is, you guys have seen what, in accessory units now? 5 in a year? Maybe?
Maybe.
Out of 4,000 housing units out here, we've seen 5.
Yeah.
So your ratio is really, really small. And on the newer subdivision, we have the benefit of an A2 survey. Septic's all there. Everything can be laid out. They might never get to the application point because they can't make it through my office in Chatham Health District for
Right.
zoning and health.
Yeah, his subdivision wouldn't work.
It'd
I
be
don't
a,
think
it'd be a rare,
it'd be
you
tough.
know, one of the rare, probably the ones at the cul-de-sacs because the lots do this.
Yeah, but the ones lined up there?
Yeah, but the ones lined up are, it's a tougher, because the septic's right back, the well's right in front. You wouldn't approve it in the front, because that just looks hokey. You know?
But if it did work,
Right.
the person that this board, quote, gave a bite of the apple to is the Gomez.
But he
Not
did-
Joe.
Right.
You know, Joe's an innocent owner
No, I
who bought it
understand.
I
most.
have no idea what went on between you guys and him.
I understand that. It's just, it's
But he,
it's from a zoning perspective. This is a special type of application, open space conservation application, and now we're allowing them to.
But, I mean, the open space conservation is supposed to be a win-win. The town's supposed to win because it's maintaining more open space.
Yeah.
And the developer wins because instead of building a 800-foot road, he builds a 400-foot road because he gets half the,
Yeah.
and his
No,
development costs are lower. Now, we are giving him a break, but in reality, you know, we're not giving him more lots than would fit on the overall. We're
Yeah.
just saying he could build in a smaller area, leave the, you know,
I
birds
was
and
here
bunnies.
for all that, so I totally understand that.
And we would,
and
because
you
we're
know
not
I'm
maintaining
totally in
those
favor
roads.
Right.
of an accessory apartment over a garage or converting a garage.
I
or
just don't
something.
understand the difference between an attached garage and a detached garage when we still have up to 4 people or, you know, 4
Because
bedrooms.
when you
or something.
detach it, it seems to me you're going to you're getting into the rental area of it. 2 bedrooms, rental, and it's becoming a business.
Well, but you're not gonna rent it out to your.
Attached over attached garage.
I have plenty of space in my house. I
Yeah,
can-
but you know, when it's
Leave
attached
it
to your house, it's your mother or your.
No, you don't understand.
This was
Most
two
people-
20-year-olds.
Those
their
people that
kids,
come here
like mine.
tell me, they
25.
I won't name names, but they literally say, how can I put a detached building up for my in-laws? I said, and I have
They
to.
don't want to be there.
And so I go, oh, don't you wanna wake up in the morning and find them in
Have
your
coffee.
kitchen? No! So, there is more request on how to make a detached building an accessory unit than there are for attached.
Okay.
They don't want no breezeway that walks through,
Yeah.
they don't want a doorway that goes down
You
through,
want a moat?
they want.
They wanna wave.
Tony's getting all this.
It's on tape, and it's reality though, and it really is. I mean, there is quite a few, the best one was, this guy's got this lot, it's 800 feet long, he goes, I want it right here.
Right in the corner.
700 feet away.
All right, let me move on to a different subject, or similar, but, how about, 2 families? If I have a 2-family, I've got double the acreage, okay?
Yeah.
And now I wanna put an accessory unit on it.
That is under, that's special exception, you're not, it says right here, an accessory unit for, do it, so,
Oh, that's limited to
One-
just single-family houses?
yeah.
Oh, okay, never mind.
And it's only
So
one
it's
per
part of
piece
an
of property.
existing, single-family dwelling.
Single-family house, okay, all right,
Yep,
I missed that one.
so,
Can't do
right, so then they'd be requesting a 3-family, and if they have the zoning for it,
Yeah.
they
could do
could.
that, yeah.
But that's in the commercial and the 1/2 acre and those.
Where I was
zones.
going was, would the accessory building use the same septic system?
Yeah, we went back a long time ago and we got rid of it, cause someone read the regulations that said that, oh, you could have, as long as you have 2 acres, you can have another accessory unit. So if you own 8 acres, you could have 4, and I went, no, it says A, singular. A,
Yeah.
you know? Or N, A or N, you know, but it was like, oh my God. And there are 3 or 4 places that have 3 or 4 units in the residential zones. Prior to my being here. And I had to get on the phone and go, what in God's name is this?
Yeah.
What? I said, you can't do this. Well, the commission said it was okay. Well, it's not. Now we're stuck with it. And they can't sell the lot because they don't know how to split it up now.
No. So, as far as, accessory units go detached, they're sharing the same septic system, right?
Not always. Sometimes they have to put their own septic system in because of just elevation issues. And even if they do wanna use the same septic system, it has to be first analyzed for bedroom count, and then secondly.
Same thing that
it-
Chuckworth's going
It
through.
needs an exception from the state to use it.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's where I was headed.
Yeah,
Multiple
Yeah.
structures.
That with this one.
Multiple structures always need a permit,
Multiple structures,
always need an exception,
but it's not the case if it's attached.
It's-
Right.
Yes.
because you
They
can
can
go
use
through the
the
same
same.
plumbing.
You're just adding another bedroom and you've gotta make sure that you can
Yeah.
handle it.
Tank can handle it.
The plumbing's internal.
Yeah, okay, good.
And I had a gentleman in today that he wants to do exactly what we wrote the regulation for. He says, I'm gonna have my daughter buy the house, and I'm going to convert the, above the garage and put a dormer on it, you know, away from the road, and I said, draw it all up. He has existing 4-bedroom septic system. He's adding one, so it's less than 50%, so he should be able to do it. I said, as long as, you know, his biggest problem is chasing the plumbing to make sure it has gravity to get to where it's gotta go, or he has to put a pump system in, you know, to get it to it.
Or you can go through the house.
Yeah, you know, he's got, somehow. So, but he owns 9 acres, he says, I'll figure it out. He just wanted to know what he was pleased to hear that there wasn't a 1,000 square foot requirement as there was before. He said, I only wanna live here half the year. And don't need that much space.
Oh, it is.
No.
That went for sale,
Yeah.
I think, or my house did, they told me.
Okay, is we good there? I see I jumped over to plan of conservation development.
Well, that's quite all right.
Yeah.
If we're good, do we wanna set a public hearing date sometime like the second meeting in June for this?
Whatever works on, on the calendar. What's our date in June?
That idea?
I do.
Good, 'cause
You think,
11th,
you think the May 28th meeting is
June-
gonna
June
push a
11th,
lot of stuff
what's
into
the one after
June?
that, June
25th.
25th?
Jim, do you think the May 28th meeting is gonna push a lot of stuff into the first meeting in June?
I don't know, but I'd rather just do this for the public hearing notice part and get it out and getting it to regional planning agency and back. I'd rather go with the June 28th,
25th.
25th.
I move we set a public hearing for June 25th.
I'll second that.
Okay, June 25th. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Anything else, Jim?
Other than the, planning conservation development,
Right.
We wanna go back and check this, right?
yeah, I would definitely check it, but, we can, since it's a draft, if you send me any corrections, then I can send it to, I did not dog ear it this time as bad. Towards the back, I had some things where I thought that maybe some other boards should help too. Some of them were obvious, they had them flip-flop as to who the lead was and who wasn't. So, if you have anything on that, let me know. And if we wanna keep our timeline, if you could approve the draft tonight, just as a draft.
Yeah, both Jimmy Curtin and Crary Brownell wanted to move it along and stay on track with our, our agenda, the timing, so they're in favor of approving.
So you need a motion to,
Yeah,
motion to approve the draft
dated May 12th, 2019.
plan of conservation development, May 12th, 2019.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed?
And I will, try my best to keep to this schedule. If there's something on here in this schedule, you say, oh boy, like tonight where all of a sudden there's a handful of us that can't be there for like the public hearing, I probably need to know that. That's the important part, is you have to listen to what the public has to offer in the comments, so. But I'll get it out to DEP, and I'll get it to, the webpage so it's posted, so that people can go through it.
Roger, are you worried about setting up your tripod in front of the crowd and distracting them?
You're gonna put this on the website or
Yeah,
town?
yeah, I'm gonna have Linda grab that Dropbox and
Yeah, okay.
put it there for us, to have some.
And we can always add and amend this as we go along, like we've been,
And that's the
doing
reason
right
for the
along.
public hearing, you might
right.
get, 20 comments that come in that, are legitimate amendments.
We're gonna turn this down for the hellhole that is Glastonbury.
Yep, right. Oh, boy.
You taking a recess?
I was gonna say, if we have nothing else, you wanna take a 10-minute recess?
Well,
5-minute break,
5 minutes,
5
whatever.
minutes. And come back and sit around, because we can't start the hearing.
10 minute,
We recess until 8, right?
12 minute?
Let's do 10 minutes.
Aye.
Alright,
Thank you.
yeah. What? I came home yesterday, it's a for sale sign in front of my house. Come
Wow, I got,
Nice black screen.
Okay, we'll continue our public hearing. The East Haddam Town Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, May 14th, 2019 at 8 p.m. at the Municipal Office Complex, Meeting Room 1-2, 1 Plains Road. Move us to hear the following. We're going to continue application 1903, 21 Mount Parnassus Road, Shagbark Farm and Lumber, special exception review to construct a 100 by 45-foot commercial building, Assessors Map 27, Lot 91. At this hearing, interested persons shall be heard and correspondence received.
So I'm Roger Zimmerman, I'm the project engineer.
Whoops.
Yeah, I've got a handout.
Using the same method.
Yes. Yeah, we have not made any revisions to the plans. The plans you have are the current ones. But this handout really relates to the parking. So there were, at the last hearing, there were 2 outstanding points, 2 issues. One related to parking and the other related to the fact that we had not at that point received the state health department approval for connecting 2 buildings to one system. Since then, we have that. That's in the record. I see Jim has it on his file. So we cleared that hurdle. We've got all the septic approvals to Haddam, state health. It's now down to the parking. And when we did the computations for the parking, I'll just refresh your memory. Your regulations have for any category, they have a minimum required number of parking spaces and a maximum. So when you do that for our existing property and the proposed building, you come out that you need a minimum of 40 spaces and the max is 98. When I analyze our property, the Shagbark property, through a number of things we're doing there, we are going to create 60 spaces on the property itself. So we have 60 spaces, the range is 40 to 98, so we're well within the range. However, as pointed out at the last hearing, Shagbark does have some special event days. And correct me if I'm wrong, Fred, I think they do them 3 times a year, and they get quite a turnout. It's pretty popular with the town, and their parking needs expand significantly on those 3 days. So what I've done here in the second page of this handout, I've kind of come up with an idea on how we would address that. So we'll start off on number 1. So on a busy day, Shagbark has as many as 20 to 25 employees. And they're not all at the store. They could be truck drivers, but they come to the store, they park, and they leave. So one of the things we talked about and Shagbark's agreed to do is on those special event days or really busy days, require that the employees park in the back of the store. So all those spaces in the front of the store won't be taken up by employee parking. Those will all be relegated to behind the store. There's plenty of space back there. We didn't designate a spot on the plan.
Can I hand this out for visual from?
Yeah, I mean, it
This is
depends
the
on,
overhead of the,
it depends on how
facility.
far they're gonna make the employees go, but certainly if you go way back towards near where the panels are, there's space there.
So you're saying this is just for special events?
This would be just, because that seems to be the major issue. But let me just continue, and while I explain, we may only have to do this on special events. So the first thing item would be, we know we're gonna have an overflow crowd because it's a special event day. Employees get the word, you're to park in the back. So those free up spaces. I mean, I've gone there and there are cars in the parking lot and I go in and where is everybody? And then I realize it's employees are parking. The second thing we're going to do is Fred wants to repave the parking lot. And as part of that, we would do a restriping. And right now, the parking stalls are striped at 10 feet wide. No town currently that I'm aware of requires 10 feet, including East Haddam. They're all 9-foot widths. So we want to restripe it at 9 feet. And that will net us, if you do it on both of the rows, the ones nearest the store and the ones nearest the road, you're going to pick up 9 or 10 spaces just by doing that, by virtue of what's there, plus the new spaces in front of the store. Those will all be striped at 9 feet. Then we're going to formalize what I call the random parking area. So if you go there and you look at the area, say where the tent is, where the picnic tables are, they actually project into what would be a parking area, but people still tend to park there. They're sticking back into the travel way. But since they're not striped, there's no real uniformity. You know, if you don't have a stripe, you're gonna park further away from the car that's next to you. So we can, if we properly stripe it, we'll get them out of the aisle width in terms of the length, and the width, we'll formalize it by saying, here's your 9-foot space. So maybe we'll pick up a couple of spaces there. So on site, I think we could do things that'll help the day-to-day, the weekend type demands that are on the property. But that probably won't be enough, or we know it won't be enough. So there's 2 other things that we're recommending or we're looking into. One is historically, Shagbark has parked across the street in the state highway right-of-way. It's going on for many, many years. I know the DOT's aware of it because Fred's discussed it verbally, but they have not told him you can't do that. And if you think about it, it is really not unusual to have parking in a state right-of-way. I mean, if you look at, I'll take Higginham from Route 81 north to Middletown. Most of those stores on the right, their parking is in the state highway right-of-way. I'll bet, I don't know this for a fact, so I'm just gonna speculate, Julia Balfour's parking is partially in the right-of-way. Swing Bridge, wine shop. So, I mean, it's not like you just don't do this. You don't just park in a Killingworth. There's numerous situations on Route 81, Route 81 that you have that. So, I don't think it's a case of, well, you know, you can't do it. It's just not allowed. And they've been doing it for years without issue, and they'll continue to do it. Well, I took a look at that space, and if you do park, there's somewhere between 20 to 25 spaces just in that right-of-way if you park head-on. And the reason it's, you know, 20 or 25 is because when you get towards the end, it narrows down in terms of the length. So, but if you had a smaller car and not a truck, you'd probably park there. And then the final thing is the Lions Club skating rink parking across the street. And Shagbark has approached the Lions Club to get permission to utilize that spacing for their overflow parking. And that space can accommodate about 15 spaces. And so you ask, you know, what's the guarantee, or how do you have permission for that? Fortunately, Scott Jezik, senior Lions Club members here, and he'll address that, I think.
Are we doing that?
Yes.
Good evening. I'm Attorney Scott Jezik from East Haddam. I represent Shagbark, Bud and Bobby, the applicant. But as Roger said, I'm also a decades-long member of the East Haddam Lions Club. The club polled its membership and voted unanimously to grant the right to Shagbark to park on the property for its needs, not just on special events, but for all purposes that it needs. The only time, as you're probably aware, that we have commitments to that parking are when the ice is frozen. And historically, that's January and February on a few isolated occasions. It's usually weeknights. As you know, it's lit, and Saturdays and Sundays. So the odds of us hitting, I think the 3 events are Chick Night, Grill Night, and Santa at the beginning of December, having a conflict are slight. The reason the Lions are doing this is that we feel that we're in synergy with Shagbark in terms of its community spirit. Things that it does for the town of East Haddam are similar to the projects and the causes that we endorse. And supporting Shagbark is, in a way, supporting the endeavors that we have. And we unequivocally not only support the application as a property owner across the street, but as a civic responsibility that we think for this business. I have a letter that outlines the commitment of the Lions for your record. We only have 3 limited conditions on it that we would expect. One, that it is subordinate to the skating, that Shagbark take care of the repairs. We're not going to plow it or sand it or do whatever they have to do to deal with it when we're not using it. And of course, some proof of insurance, which I don't think is an issue. But otherwise, this is open-ended in terms of the year. It's not limited to the special events. It's been signed by myself, as counsel, and Dan Ballack, who is secretary and the acting president in our club right now. Then the only other thing I want to mention, nothing to do with the Lions, but on the parking in the state right-of-way. Some of you may know this. I can't recall how long all of you have been on the commission. When the Lions owned what was the Grange, we had it surveyed for our purposes, and the state highway taking line there runs, anybody want to guess?
40 feet?
Across the stairs, going up to
It's
the
100
Grange.
feet.
Across the stairs,
Yeah.
up to the ramp on the old town hall. And so you can see all the work and the parking that takes place. In fact, the handicap parking for those buildings takes place in the state right away. We've never had an objection from the state of Connecticut, but you might want to note that when you think of other instances where the community uses the state right away parking. So I think that what Shagbark does in this instance is perfectly consistent with policy of the state of Connecticut on this issue. If you have any questions about what the Lions were offering to do, I'm here to answer it, and thank you very much.
Yeah, just to summarize, so if you take the existing parking on the Shagbark property now, and then you implement all of these, you could increase that parking that's there today by somewhere between 60 to 80 spaces. So that would be the employees in the back, the restriping, formalizing, the right-of-way, DOT right-of-way, and the Lions Club. So it'd be a substantial increase. I think that'd go a long way towards resolving any of the issues that the neighborhood has in terms of the parking.
Anybody have any questions?
I think your parking plan is good. I think, it's a step in the right direction. The question I have is, I live on Parnassus, so I do go by it on the busy days, and I really support, the Chick Day and everything else. I think it's great. But there are cars that do park on Parnassus, and hopefully this will take care of it. I don't have a problem with 3 days a year with people parking on Parnassus if they have to. I don't live in this area. But I do recognize it is a dangerous area. It's fast, everybody's coming down. And I worry about, it's Chick Day, you're bringing your little kids and stuff. I worry about somebody getting hit. And I question, you look at if it's a security issue, then that answers the question. But you look at your overall plaza and area, and there is area back here to take care of overflow parking on 3 days. Is it a security issue that you can't park cars in a single row between your outbuildings 3 and 4 and your stack of lumber there? You probably could fit another 25 or 30 cars in this stretch with a single load. It's not double, but it's a single. And you get the little kids off of Parnassus. Now, I don't know if you're worried about theft or whatever, but it would seem for 3 days you probably could check the cars like you do every time people are leaving.
I think that, that's the number one practical problem is how do you distinguish between somebody going in to get product and coming out versus somebody going in just to park their car. And you could say, I guess you could check product, but it's, you're going to be asking people, did you take any it's a public relations problem. Second thing is, I don't think there's as much parking back there as you envisioned. First of all, the panels that went in, the solar panels that went in back, that would have been a large area for parking, but that's no longer available. And then,
But we're not getting hundreds of cars on Parnassus, we're getting, 40 or something.
yeah, but the only other issue I'd say is when you look at the maneuvering, the traffic maneuvering in the aisles, if you try to park the cars, most of that is encumbered. If you try to park the cars, like you couldn't park them really in here
No,
because.
but you couldn't you do a single load row, right? So just line them up right down the center there. You still could access here, or you could load the wood from here. You still could access buildings 3 and 4, and you just got a row of cars parking here, and people
Roger,
aren't
could
parking
you
on
show
it.
that
Could you point on the
up
map
there
where-
so
where-
everybody can have a sense what's
Okay,
going
so
on?
that to me would be, this is the existing retail building.
Yeah.
These shaded areas, those are the
The
building
outbuildings.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah,
5. So you would actually go off sheet here, you go back in here.
Oh, you're talking.
No.
You're going in front of the
I'm
building.
talking,
So you're talking.
right
about-
where all your notes are is where they store their wood,
Right here?
right?
Right.
Yes.
So the wood's lined up there,
Oh, boy,
and there's nothing between there.
I
I
don't
bet
see
I
it.
bet you could fit a single row of
I don't
parking
think,
there.
well, maybe parallel parking, but not 19.
Isn't that
What are
where
you
the
talking
employees
about?
will be?
Between the lumber and the buildings.
This is the back of your main building, there's where your septic system is.
Yeah.
Isn't that where
Parking
the
back.
employees would be parking?
Maybe
They're
the
talking
employees
about
park there, but.
Parking back
the
here.
employees are-
But nobody's gonna park back there.
Well, I honestly
It's
don't know
very-
how you can,
Yeah,
because when you
not
park in
especially
here,
customers,
I mean,
no.
there's
No, it's
product,
not.
there's product here.
And, if the answer is no, the answer is no, but I want you to think about it. You've got your wood here, right? And then you've got all this open maneuvering area. On the 3 days, I bet you could fit, come in single stack them and drive out that way. I bet you could do it.
You could put some
And you get
spaces
people
there.
off
yes.
of Parnassus. It's ain't marketing it, it's having, the equivalent of one of your workers just flagging them in and lining them
Can I
up.
just make a comment
Well-
regarding that? Just one other thing is that, if you're worried about the safety of children and customers, you have to remember that we have big trucks back there.
I'm not talking about way and back.
No, the delivery trucks. We're
Yeah,
bringing tractor trailers
they
in and
bring
out
them right
there
in there.
all the
They
time.
got forklifts and trucks and everything else.
Yeah, and the
going on there.
forklifts are moving
I mean,
material.
I would think it'd be
and
safer.
It's a busy yard.
Well,
No, right
you just mean
on
on
the
those
street.
3 days, right?
I just mean on the 3 days.
Not to,
When I'm driving down Parnassus and there are cars on both sides. Yeah, the answer is no, and there's a reason why it's no. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna like go to the mat for it, but
The only-
was it considered, I guess
The
is the
only other
question.
reason I'd add to that is just the congestion. If you have trucks, not delivery trucks, you have contractors' trucks.
Okay, when Chick, I'm at your store frequently, right? I don't go there on Chick Day because I don't want a chick. I imagine most of the people showing up on Chick Day are there for the chicks.
You're
and-
just
and their
afraid
stuff.
somebody's gonna bring something home.
I've done the chicken thing. I'm not doing it anymore. But
We have 3 events a year.
right, and that's what I'm saying. For 3 events, can you look at getting cars off? And only when they start stacking on Parnassus, I think you got to look at trying to get them in back and off the road.
Can I add one comment though?
But it's,
Yeah.
it's good for business, have all those cars.
The,
Fair enough. Yeah.
the one comment from the last public hearing was the speed of everybody coming down the hill. And
Right.
because I'm smart enough not to go there those days also, is that, maybe a requirement that the center line be coned to slow them down,
Slow down sign.
Can they do that in the state right away?
That's what I would,
That's what Jim is saying.
I have been there and I've gotten pretty decent parking, because it's just people going in and out, it's not continuous congestion.
Or somebody on the
just to slow them down on these special events.
That's a good idea.
I mean, maybe if we have to contact DOT just to get approval for it so that nobody screams and yells, but
We can get some yellow signs or yellow cones.
if you really wanna slow them down, you put the fire department there with their bucket and their shoe. That's a great idea.
What the good speed does, but hey, slow down, people go out there and run.
Correct.
But this is such a, just really, isn't this like a huge issue that not, Shag Park is just. a
It's
site-
everywhere.
It's,
speeding.
Correct.
it's everywhere, but how, you know, how bad will it be if a kid gets pegged? You know, that's your last chick day.
If everybody was parked on one side, it wouldn't be an issue. But there's just, and these are special events, and every special event, whether it's a fair, it's a tag sale, it's a church event, it runs to the same issue of people aren't smart enough to slow down. Even though all that activity's going on, they still come to like wrecking balls because they got their phone out. So, maybe we can talk to the state about putting cones out, putting slow, function ahead, something just to break it up, and maybe they'll recognize, oh, gee, I should slow down.
I know this is about Shagbark's new building, but when we talk about a special event, I mean, I love the idea of cones and also maybe a crossing guard
Yeah, so a flagger or somebody, Freddie, that can come out there and just,
could escort people across
3 days a week, or 3-day
three
events.
times a year.
Yeah, really.
That would address it.
But I think
Chick Day
addressing
is really the only day that's really.
addressing the new building, I
Santa's
think
not that busy.
we have plenty of parking for
Yeah,
moving forward.
right. No other questions, anything from the audience? Okay, so do we want to close the public hearing?
Well, I'll make it official, Roger said it, but.
Oh, that's right, the
I'll make
state,
it official that we do have in possession a notice of exception from the supervising sanitary engineer, Robert W. Scully, dated April 25th, 2019, allowing a central sewage system for the building.
okay, you read that into the record, so we'll close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Does anybody want to make a motion, or what do we want to do? here?
Motion to approve application 1903, 21 Mount Parnassus, Shagbark Farm and Lumber, special exception review for construction of a 100 by 45 commercial building.
Second,
Any conditions?
oh,
We're putting any conditions for all these traffic things we've talked about, or that they investigate, or?
Well, that's for a special event.
You got that bite of the apple now if you.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the condition that for
Well-
3 special events of the year, there should be cones.
Well, I don't think we can require them to do that because I'm not sure DOT is gonna sign off on that. And DOT owns the road. I don't know.
How about this?
Some
As
type
a-
of safety.
As a recommended thing is that the owners of Shagbark contact the DOT
Right.
for approvals for
Safety
items such
measures.
as cones, signage, and traffic guards
On special events.
on special events.
I like that. That works.
You get that, Tony?
On signage and traffic.
traffic control
Go-
for those
Guard,
special
yeah.
event days.
But what is traffic controls?
It would be a
Signage, sign saying
Just
slow,
signage.
chick event ahead.
I second that.
Stop sign. Okay.
So you don't want a crossing guard?
Well, we said traffic
Traffic control.
control.
That kind of covers everything.
I just didn't hear that.
You got that, Tony? It's very long and convoluted.
I love this town.
And we won't ask to read it back. Good. All right. All in favor?
I seconded it.
You second.
I still second it.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I think that's, do we have anything else?
Motion to adjourn?
Yeah, that's what I said. Well, Eddie's not here, so I don't,
Motion to adjourn?
we need a second? Okay, that's it. All right, good.
Thank you, Scott.
These are two
Yeah.
extras.
Nice job. Walk in the park.
Hey, it's a small town USA. I love it.
think of this video. And we're all sitting around a table, like 18 people from different areas, having cocktails, and they're all, similar jobs with Nature Conservancy, things like that. And the guy goes, "What do you mean everybody goes to a town meeting?" He's 24 years old. He goes, "A town meeting?" I said, "Well, what exactly do?" He goes, "I gotta hop in a vehicle 270 miles to a county office." I said, no, we bring our pitchforks and our flames right down, and we murder the guy who's in charge.
What state's this?
And he goes, "No, really, what?" He goes, and I told him, I said, "We are, all of New England is local town government. And the rest of the United States, is county." He goes, "We have no say. Who's getting in a vehicle going that far to make a decision on something that's happening here?" So, and I said, then the other thing, we gotta talk about? Michigan will not allow you to hunt from a deer stand. I said, because I'm telling him I use a 270 for deer, and he goes,
Of course.
He goes, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Let me tell you what the problem is. If I'm on the ground and I shoot that 270, I'll go through 7 trees, 7 deer, and 7 people." I said, "If I'm up in a tree stand, I shoot down, it goes into the ground, it's done." He goes, "Oh, I hate to say this." I said, "What?"
Made
He goes,
sense.
"Are you telling me people in Connecticut are smarter than the people in Michigan?" Oh, yeah.
Hey, speaking of parking, did you get any pushback from the Celebrate East Haddam? You messed that with parking.
None.
No, huh?
None.
Great Hill Woods?
Oh, they made
both
mess on both sides. There was so muddy and wet. Everybody's sick of it being muddy and wet.
People
They're just sucking it up.
People were blowing their horns and,
Why were they blowing their horns?
because
Turns out a little bit later.
Yeah.
a couple of cars.
A couple of people mentioned it to me, but I was like, hey, let's,
One car would start moving.
One day.
And then someone would come
or a
out.
weekend, you know?
No, I mean,
It's
a
like,
little bit later.
And there was,
We were gonna go, I was just getting over the cold, and I was asking to get to my wife.
back up.
It's just like, I can't do this today. I'm like,
yeah. Great
So they
idea.
needed to close the traffic.
It's better than like the fair.
Once you've done one or two of them, I'm good. I'm good for my duration. So Eddie is on.
So there's a case, maybe that should be in a later date. It's a little early and cold. People were talking to people from the dentist's office that set up a booth.
Yeah, you're
Ask
perfect.
him. We have,
I
an
did,
alternate.
I put Joseph in here somewhere in the minutes, but I'll change it back.
What's that going on?
I have a nephew, mother insisted we call him
She's
Joseph.
like, no, no, it's fine.
But his friends, everybody
Right,
calls
I
him
just thought he'd be here till.
I like Joseph.
Anyway, I was just thinking, mentally of us.
I was on a full day work route that day.
Because I was thinking of asking somebody that I know.
To go for it?
Yeah.
But nobody actually.
Actually, I was thinking bringing some young blood. But I did ask him, he said maybe, but I have to vet it around, see if it's a conflict or if it's.
I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
I would benefit like your son would be.
Oh, no, no.
Not because he's your son, but I'm like, hey, I just,
No.
I'm qualified for this position. You don't want me. Have fun.
All right, I'm gonna go.
Sitting there, see her coming, and there's nothing I can do. She turns and she whacks my Jeep. Then she backs up, she gets up, she gets out, and she goes, "You hit my car!" So he has to call Carl, come down and file a report. She said, "The last thing was shaven. I don't know which one of them it is."
Good night, good night
See you
all.
later, thank
See you
you.
Monday.
So then the next thing was he goes, and she's telling the girl, like, he hit me. Man.
Sound like tomorrow's okay.
And he says, so I think it was no big deal. It was offended. Because as soon as he turned it on, because of all the computer, it told me his wheel alignment was on. It wouldn't let him drive.
Nice.
It just shut him down. So we had to get it towed, take it to a garage, repair it.
When my wife was driving the bus, she got hit. Lady pulling out her driveway, hit my wife's full-size bus, so it's like 45 feet, right? Behind the rear wheel. My wife had kids on the bus. My wife stopped. The lady's like, "You got to move it. I got to get around. I got to get to work." My wife backed it up. like you're not going anywhere. I'm blocking your driveway. Just ran into a bus full of kids. Lady, you're not going to work today.
Where is that?
Oh, I don't know, somewhere down near Acorn area. You know, my wife is just, you know, she knows the town like the back of her hand.
We went to visit my in-laws years ago, and the whole side of the car is swiped, you know. She's denying it, he's denying it. All right, somebody did this.
And my father, he's 89. He goes, son of a bitch just want so much freaking money. And I said, let me explain why. And I told him what happened. He goes, hey, I can't help it if these old people can't get their act together. He scares the hell out of me. He's with it. His hand-eye coordination. You know, he goes, oh, by the way, he says, you're going to have to wait a long time for any inheritance. Everybody I know who's my age looks like hell. He goes, I'm looking a lot better than that. I go, well, because he made the mistake and visited his sister-in-law in convalescent. He goes, that's one damn
Your father's how old? 89?
89.
My mother's 88, and she looks like, you know. I called her for Mother's Day. I'm like, I didn't go out today. I love staying home. This is why I don't call you all the time, Mom, because you have absolutely nothing to tell me.
No, in fact, he's at bingo. Oh, he was at bingo last night.
Yeah, I see him at the bar.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, which he goes, I only have 2. I go, don't give me that. You have 2 at the Legion, and then you have 2 there, and then if you feel good enough, you know, well, I don't go to Geronimo's anymore. I said, gee, isn't that big of you?
Oh, yeah. And he's 80-something?
89. Oh, yeah. Trust me, though, when he was 50, before his buddy Tom Humble, they used to, their routine was brutal.
You put down some beer, huh?
They Drew Pratt and Whitney, they put their almost 70 hours in, it seemed like. And because it was 5 days at Pratt and half a day on Saturday. And then they started in Hartford and they'd make their way home. Wow. Oh yeah. Yeah. And of course, you know, as I got older.
Good old days, huh?
Good old days, yeah, because some of the guys that are in the club were young pups. And they'd go, oh my God, we couldn't keep up with them. They were professionals. I go, yeah. And I don't know why he's still alive. I mean, how do you live peanut butter sandwiches and Budweiser, you know? I mean, how do you do that? So when my wife goes, well, when you die, I go, got bad news for you. I am going to be around a lot longer than you ever going to be.